Hi, everyone, and welcome to the season finale of Front Row Fridays. We've loved using this space to connect with you and girl experts all over the world these last few months. And so now we're just going to take a quick break to brainstorm what happens in season 2. As a reminder, we call this Front Row Fridays for 2 reasons. One, it gives you a front row seat to hear from girl experts all around the world, many of whom we get to call our friends at Choose the First. And secondly, because the front row is the name of our monthly giving community. And as a reminder, right now, if you join the front row, the first 3 months of your donation, those monthly donations, are going to go into our COVID response fund, which is working to ensure that our partners all around the world are able to provide food and water security, health and hygiene information and education, and tech needs to girls who really need that support during this crisis. So if you want to join, you can head to she'sthefirst.org/front row and join the community. We'd love to have you. This week, I'm so excited to be talking to Deepa Bohara, Cynthia Muhonja, and Maria Alejandra Quiñonez and getting their advice for life after school. Deepa is from Surkhet in Nepal, and she graduated 2 years ago. She's won the Slamming in Surkhet Poetry Contest. She's participated in Nepal's National Poetry Slam. And nowadays she's working with Quixote's Cove, their Book Bus and their Word Warrior program as a Program and Operations Associate, all while she's studying for her bachelor's degree and managing a chronic condition of lupus. Cynthia Muhonja is an alum of Akili, one of our partner programs in Kenya, and she graduated from Ashesi University in Ghana last year. She's the first in her family to do so fits right in it. She's the first. She's also the founder of Life Lifters, a mentorship program for girls in her hometown of Nandi County in Kenya, and it's the project for which she was chosen actually to be a She's the First Fellow. Finally, Maria Alejandra is also a She's the First Fellow, and she's our most recent grad as a member of the class of 2020. She's just graduated from the George Washington University with a BBA in finance, and she's a double minor in international affairs and sustainability. This summer, she scored an internship with Think Food Group, and we're so excited to have her, Deepa, and Cynthia joining us today. Hi, everyone. We're so excited to have you here. It looks like we've momentarily lost Deepa, so I'm going to get started and hopefully she'll be able to pop in. One of the dangers of doing these across 3 different continents means that we're never really sure what the internet is going to gift us with. So hopefully we'll get her back shortly because I know she has a lot of great things to say today. But I would love to just kick it off by hearing a little bit more about your journeys, particularly what's been happening in this kind of space between graduation and today. So let's start with our most senior member here, Cynthia, as the one who's graduated longest ago. Can you just fill us in a little bit on your journey since graduation? What has that been like for you?
Okay. Hi, everyone. So first, I would like to say thank you so much for having me on this chat. I'm really humbled to be part of this conversation. So I graduated from Ashesi University last year with a bachelor's degree in management information systems. This is just basically a combination of computer science and business administration. My journey, I would say, has been quite interesting. So part of the challenge of growing up from, let's say, underprivileged background is you have a lot of responsibilities. So when I graduated, I was bombarded with responsibilities. I was taking care of my brother, who was currently in school. So I sort of had to find school fees for him and everything. So I jumped right after graduation. I jumped into the corporate world, I would say, and I was working 2 jobs at that time. The first job I was doing was as a manager at an architectural firm in Ghana, and my second job was as a manager at a beach resort. So this was essentially to raise school fees for my brother and essentially take him to school. Um, I did this for close to, I'll say, 8 months, yeah. And successfully, I've been able to raise school fees for my brother and I've gotten him out of my life. I'll say, and I can sort of focus on my things. So I've always been passionate about women empowerment, and this year I made a risky move of quitting my job to essentially move back to Kenya, run my NGO Life Futures Kenya. Life Futures is a incubator that seeks to build the next generation of women in Africa. We do this by investing a lot of resources into girls and women in rural communities. So we do scholarships, we do trainings, we do empowerment programs for girls. And this is what I am actually doing at the moment. So we are quarantined. Hopefully, by the end of this quarantine, essentially go back to normal and continue empowering girls. So that's what I've been up to after graduation.
Thanks, Cynthia. And your audio got a little choppy there. So I just want to re-emphasize this kind of middle part of your story, which is that after graduation, you decided to work for a little while, partially because you were supporting your little brother and supporting him through school fees and really needing to raise money for that and really feeling those responsibilities that come along with being the first in your family to get an education. And that's something that all of us all around the world who are first in our families, there's a lot of pressure, internal often and external as well, to make sure that you're fulfilling your responsibilities and that you're really approaching that privilege of education and using it for good, right? And I think the other piece that we might have missed a little bit was that you decided in the end to leave that job and take a bit of a risky move, you called it, in order to start working on Life Lifters, your organization, full time. And I think we got everything after that. So Deepa, if you've been able to join us, I would love to hear from you about your journey since leaving school. What have you been doing in Kathmandu?
So yeah, thank you, Christen. So my internet was bad. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So yeah, thank you, Sis, the first team for inviting me. I'm so glad to be here. So it was a very hard time for me financially, like physically, socially, and even emotionally after I graduated. Before my graduation, I was a full scholar at Kopila Valley School. Because I was also diagnosed with lupus nephritis, they also looked after my treatment in Kathmandu in every 3 months. But after I graduated, things changed. I was thinking of so many things at once, like what do I study in my bachelor's? And I also really wanted to go to Kathmandu for my further study, like no matter what. For that, I had to find a job to settle myself in Kathmandu. And the reason I wanted to go to Kathmandu for my study was I had to travel to Kathmandu in every 3 months for my follow up with a doctor. And so then, if I want to go, then first thing I had to do to convince my parents was to find a job and then to have few friends that I know, and also like I applied for the position in Kyoto's Cove, which is a bookshop in Lalitpur, and which is like a partner organization of the US Embassy's Book Bus, which is a project in Nepal, and also a parent organization of Wood Warriors. And then I decided, after I settled myself there, I decided to get admission in a government college due to a various reason, like finance and timings. And I miss being home with my family, and but I was always in touch with my parents, and they care about me a lot. And after that, after that, like I almost working there. It's been like almost 2 years that I'm working with QC, Bookbus, and Word Warriors, and I'm learning so many things there, from handling accounts to teaching poetry and traveling. I have traveled to so many districts in Nepal, around 8 to 10, and spreading love for my poetry. And I'm part of the team members that promotes reading and writing culture in Nepal. And I'm very glad that I found the right place. And now I'm in my hometown due to the current situation, but I'm still in touch with all my team members, and very soon we are planning to bring exciting virtual programs to Surkhet. So
One
yeah,
of
that's
the
all
One of the
happening.
things that I love about your story, Deepa, is that you did graduate in a time where you were feeling really unsure about what the world had in store for you. And that was a different combination of events than what's happening now in the world. But there's a bit of a parallel there where you weren't sure about how you were going to take on your next steps financially or socially or emotionally, all while managing a medical condition. And, I think as we think about the class of 2020, all of these plans that they thought were set in stone, all of a sudden, there are all of these other factors that they're thinking about. And I think your story of going from uncertainty after graduating to finding this path where now you're not only studying, but you're working on your poetry and you're working full-time as well. I think it's really inspiring. Maria Alejandra, as a member of the class of 2020, I'd love to just hear from you how that experience has been for you, because you did actually technically just graduate, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it has been anything but ordinary. Wrapping up my last semester online was definitely is definitely not how I intended to culminate my college years. I feel that I went into this weird transition on being in online school and then being done with online school and then virtually graduating. But even though we are currently facing major changes in our daily lives, I think that it has made me more appreciative. It has also allowed me to reflect on how incredibly lucky I am to have had an amazing support group of friends and family cheering me on throughout this last 4 years, and are currently cheering me on as I find my place in life. It has also been absolutely incredible to see how this global crisis has shown me how supportive people can be and how people are willing to help you out, because this issue is affecting everyone in different ways. But still, I feel like there's this common theme of helping each other out, which has been absolutely empowering. Just seeing the amazing things that people are doing just to give back to the communities and brings me so much happiness and joy. And just really showing me what humanity is capable of if we all work together to help each other out. And it truly has given me hope that everything is going to be just fine.
Well, I certainly hope so. I'm all for your optimism. And I'm just wondering if, this class is facing so much uncertainty, not just with coronavirus and the uncertainty around when this pandemic might end or how we're going to manage it, but also economically and looking at the job market, looking at the stock market, really just seeing an entirely different picture than I'm sure what you were imagining 6 months ago. So I wonder if you can just shed some light for us on what are some of the worries, what are some of the anxieties of your peers, of yourself, of the class of 2020 as you're thinking about your next steps.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like you said it, like the biggest concern faced today is the uncertainty of the future, simply not knowing what's coming up next and how to accurately prepare for that. I feel like this unique experience that I faced with all recent graduates had taught me that it's okay to take things slow, one step at a time. Personally, I've always been the type of person that thought that upon graduation, you would have had your life planned out, 5-year plan, everything figured out. And definitely that's not the case. And it's completely fine. With everything that we're facing right now, I'm making a pause to analyze or current situation, trying to understand and define my current strengths and just develop new skills for this constant changing world and figure it out how I can best pursue my passions and just find a career that would allow me to have a positive impact in the lives of others.
Yeah. And Cynthia and Deepa, I wonder, because you've had some time since graduation and you've had the benefit of some experience, if maybe you can share some of your lessons learned from the last few years with Maria Alejandra and all of her peers. Cynthia, do you want to kick us off with some of the things you've learned?
Yeah. I mean, ranging from leadership, managing people, and all that. But I would say there are two important things that I've learned personally that I think are important for any graduate out there to have. I would say the first thing I learned is the power of your voice. This thing called voice is gonna save you. That's the truth. It's gonna save you. It will help you learn more. It will help you earn more through negotiation, salary, and all that. It will help you make meaningful relationships. It will help you highlight some of the values, and most importantly, it will help you lead and become the leader that you've always wanted to be. Truth is, I am still learning how to use my voice at the moment, but it keeps on evolving. And I would say, just because you haven't, or if you found your voice, use it. Don't ignore it. Use it. And the advice I would give you is listen to that inner voice that speaks to you. You know, that voice that speaks to you when you're sleeping or when you're making a decision. Before you even go and ask a neighbor or ask a friend, what should I do? That inner voice, listen to it. The second thing I would like to talk about is, and this is quite important to me, is please don't settle. I call it the danger of settling. I mean, it's easy after you graduate, you get into the job world, and then you just settle. You settle into your job, you get used to the 9 to 5, you get used to the normal situations that you go through. But I will encourage you not to settle. Continue to dream, continue to aspire, remember the dreams that you had. Continue to work through them. You want to achieve a master's degree, you have to go and do it. You have to work towards it. I've learned that, I learned this, and I think I learned this year after I decided to quit my job to essentially focus on something that I love. And I learned this because I was getting used to, 9 to 5, going to work and everything, and just, having co-workers to talk to. I'm not saying it's bad. If that's your dream, go. That's okay. But if you know you're meant for something bigger, please don't ever settle. And that's my advice.
Thank you.
That's such great advice, Cynthia. Thank you for that. And Deepa, what about you? Do you have anything to add about the lessons you've learned in these last few years?
So yeah, like I have learned to become an independent girl without any fear, like independent enough to earn for a living in the capital city, earn enough to cover my checkups and prescriptions while I'm still being able to write, perform, and travel. And I have learned like not to let lupus destroy my life, because even my feelings are living things that I should never let them die. And yes, because brave enough to walk home at night. And I think I became this person because I got a chance to go to Kopila Valley School and all those great opportunities while I was a student there. And I'm very thankful to Maggie, to Uncle, and all of those amazing people that I have met in my life who inspire me in like so many ways. And thank you for making me this brave girl. And like my world would have been completely different if I wasn't a Kopila Valley student. And advice that I would like to give Maria and her peers, is to be brave enough to make the right decision for yourself, and so that you don't regret it in the future. And also, most importantly, don't leave your passion. Hear what the inner heart says to you, and do what you love the most.
That was
So, yeah.
beautiful, Deepa. Thank you. One of the things I love about the word brave is that it doesn't mean that you're fearless. It doesn't mean that you're not ever scared or worried or anxious about something. It means that you're going to do it anyway. You're going to follow that dream. You're going to follow that future. You're going to keep working toward your goal, even though you might be nervous. You might have some fear. You might have some of those pieces. And you know, when I think about our work at She's the First, and all of you in some ways, you know, Maria Alejandra, you were a founder of a She's the First chapter and an STF fellow, Cynthia, an STF fellow, also an alum of one of our partners, Deepa, an alum of one of our partners, accomplished spoken word poet. You know, you are intimately acquainted with the idea that we really need to ensure that girls have the tools that they need to succeed. And so I wonder if you could talk a little about what you think are the most important tools, the most important things girls need in order to be able to define their own futures. What do they need in order to get to where you are? And maybe we can start that with Cynthia.
I mean, with girl empowerment and organizations talking about these issues, there's so many other tools. But I think for this conversation, I focus on two things. I think girls need support and trust, and I'm talking about support from family, support from friends, support from the community. I mean, we need to trust girls when they make their decisions. We need to trust them when they dream. We need to trust that they can, sort of chart their own path. I think right now we encourage the society today. Essentially, encourage a lot of women and girls to be risk averse and not to be adventurous in their career and all that. But the power of a girl, or the power of the future of a girl, actually depends on the adventure. It's in the adventure that they discover themselves. It's in the adventure that they discover that, they have the potential to essentially be great. So we need to support them and allow them to dream. The second thing I think is very important, is provide a safe and probably a fair working environment for girls and essentially all women in different countries and globally, I would say. Girls need to own their future. They need to know that essentially we have the freedom, or they have the freedom to dream as big as they can. And they won't be limited by a salary, or they won't be limited by the issues that are faced in the workplace. So essentially create a very safe environment for a girl to dream, and let go of all these preconceived notions that this is what a girl should be, or this is what a woman should be. Let's let the girls be free and women be free, and essentially give them a space or that freedom to dream and aspire and essentially to be great, I would say. So those are the two things that I think are very important.
I love that you use the word adventure when you are talking about what we need to give to girls and to women, because the idea that girls need the space to have those adventures, I think, is so powerful and so true, because don't we all learn so much when we have our own life adventures? And isn't that where some of our biggest life lessons really come from? And the ways that we find ourselves really come from there. Deepa, I wonder if you have something to add here about what you think the most important ingredient is for a girl to be able to decide her own future.
Yeah, like Cynthia said, a safe space for every girl is very important, where they can talk about their lives, choices, feelings, and share their happiness and sorrows. then having clarity on what they want to be and what they want to do in the future is very important. It also takes you to another level of confidence, which helps you to decide your future. And if they also have like a support from family, then that's a like extra point, and especially for a Nepali girl. And I believe that girls are capable of doing more than anyone could think of. And it's all about where we want to go, how far we want to go, and believing in yourself that we will be there one day is very important.
Yes. Maria Alejandra, any thoughts that you want to add to that?
I completely agree with everything that Deepa and Cynthia mentioned. And I want to piggyback of what Deepa said. I just feel like self-confidence is so important. Believing in ourselves is so important. Just to be constantly reminded that we as girls are capable of achieving absolutely everything. And just like everything that we put our minds to, knowing our worth and what we bring to the table is absolutely key, and to never sell yourself short because you are capable of greatness.
We have so many buttons that we can make from the things that you've all said today that we can just turn into a button and wear from all of you. It's been incredible. So as we wrap up, and no pressure, but this is the season finale of Front Row Friday, what I would love to hear from each of you is if there was the one most important piece of advice or inspiration or thing that you could tell the class of 2020 right now, what would that be? And Cynthia, let's start with you.
I would say, it's funny that you're limiting me to one because I have so many things in my mind. Thinking of it, I would say go and live your grandmother's or your mother's wildest dreams. I don't know if you understand what I mean, but your grandmother never dreamt of being a pilot, so go and be that pilot. Your grandmother probably never dreamt of being a CEO. Go and be that CEO. And just make yourself into this yardstick of success, intelligence, excellence, dignity for your community and everyone who sees you, so that they can see and they can point at you and say that, you know what, she's successful, she's empowered, she's a strong woman.
Snaps. Deepa, what do you have to add? What's your advice?
So yeah, I agree with Cynthia, and I would like to say that like please don't rush, because there is no bus that will leave you behind. Because sometimes it takes time to know yourself. Even it took a lot of time for me to understand myself, and I'm still like in the process of understanding myself. So take your time, take a gap year, and calmly decide what you want to study and what kind of person you want to become. And for these, you might have to do a proper research, help yourself by trying out new things and experiencing new things and explore. And in all that time, find what you want, what you like love the most. And yeah, lastly, you can be anything you want.
Thank you, Deepa, which I think it's especially true right now for these grads. Suddenly you have time, and maybe that can be a gift where you can use it to explore. Maria Alejandra, what do you have to say to your fellow class of 2020 grads?
First off, class of 2020, you're absolutely incredible and capable of greatness. We are currently living in unprecedented times that have truly shown us how short life can be. So use this time to reflect on who you want to be and what you want to contribute to humanity. Think strongly about your passions and how you can transform your passions into a profession, and know that you are unstoppable. You are a force of nature, and you are ready to take on the world.
Thank you, Maria Alejandra. And thank you to the three of you so much for joining us here today and for ending this season of Front Row Friday with me, because I can't imagine any other group of people I'd rather end it with.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Bye. Thanks. Okay, so again, I'm so glad that you all had the chance to meet Cynthia, Deepa, and Maria Alejandra, because they are three of my favorite people. And by the way, if you are interested in making a donation to Cynthia's work, she's part of the girl-led incubator at She's the First. And so you can actually do that through She's the First at this address right here. Okay, so in case you tuned in late, as a reminder, these talks are called Front Row Fridays, not only because we are bringing you to girl experts around the world, but also because it's named after our monthly giving community of the Front Row. And so this week, we want to wish a happy anniversary to these members: Amanda Kwan, Vanessa Lerner, Nathan Lee, Miriam Khan, Karina O'Brien. And welcome to our new monthly donors. Welcome to the Front Row: Sarah Panachia, Haif Zamzam, Ladi Designs, Shruti Alavala, and Diana Lopez. To join the Front Row, you can become a monthly donor at she'sthefirst.org/front row. And as a reminder, right now, the first 3 months of that do go directly into our COVID response fund. This is our last episode for a little while, so you can keep up with She's the First and our community events at this address, which is not popping up, but that's okay. You can join us at she'sthefirst.org/community, and hopefully I'll see you there. Okay, bye.